But when I look out at society and just people in general, I see most people they're afraid of death. You're afraid of dying. I think it's the biggest fear, But.
Yeah, I mean, and as I always say, I think that people act out their beliefs more than they speak out their beliefs. And so I think just based on the way that people act, you all eat, you all do the things that postpone the death. So it's like we all want to, at least, you might not articulate that you're afraid of it, but you're trying to get away from it as much as you can.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe not as much as you'd like to, but at some level you're like, I probably don't want to die today. At least most people are.
Most people are. Dude, we've talked about that the suicide episode, about how some people do feel like they want to go just to like leave this place. But I think if you have some type of attachment here, whatever, like even if it's not like you're having the best time, if you love somebody or there's just anything of value to in the world, and there's tons of things in the world, then you don't want to let that go. You know what I mean? Like you don't like the idea of like everything coming to an end.
You're right though. People don't want to confront that death aspect because people will smoke cigarettes every day and they'll be like, "Well, I'm scared of dying."
Right.
And it's like, well, you're putting a poison inside your body that everybody knows kills you faster. So maybe stop poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
If you're because I think about death and the fear of death as like, okay, when you're driving around, are you constantly thinking about getting smashed by another car? Some people are. Yeah. Some people drive super defensively, and that fear of death is constantly traveling with them as they're driving around. And then you see other motherfuckers that are just zamming through traffic like Tokyo Drift. And do they necessarily fear death less, or is it confidence? Like, what is that?
Threat assessment. You know what I mean? Risk assessment. I think everybody has different risk assessment, and then that's what it gets down to is like, what do you think? But also, when you were talking about it, the first thing that came to my head, and we've talked about this plenty of times too, is the frog in the pot of water analogy.
Yep.
It's like with the cigarette or with food or things that is just slow over time, over years and years, where you can't see the effects. Then
gradual.
Right. You don't know that it's killing you. I mean, really, like I
think that's one of the biggest things is that people they inherently know that they're going to die, but they kind of repress it. They don't think about it. They don't keep that in mind. So that's why day to day they can do a lot of things that you could make an argument to be like, well, you're actually ensuring that you're going to die sooner by doing these things. And that would be a concept new to them because, like you said, they're not thinking about their mortality
conscious
every
fear,
day.
subconscious fear.
Right. Like you tend to, I'd say for most people, they tend to only question their mortality when it's at their door.
When
it's right there staring at you in the face, that's when you start thinking like,
oh
shit, there it is, my life.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't do what I wanted.
Which, damn, we do that all the time, right?
Most people
took my life for granted.
Took it for granted. Didn't know what I had.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's one of the key issues with death is that I think that we've become so uncomfortable with it that we don't even think about it at all until it's too late.